Hey people, I'm at the Sacramento River. That's what you see all over there. There's boats, there's people fishing, swimming. There's people close to each other, far away from each other. One of the things that I was wondering about is how much I really do say to myself, think to myself, and say to other people that I really just don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. Don't you understand? I don't want to argue, and I don't want to fight anymore. Yeah, I wish you wouldn't just turn away. I said I don't want to fight anymore. You just turned away from me. You did it. Oh, you're saying I did it. Oh, okay. You see what I'm saying? I actually say that and think that, and then I keep fighting. I fight with my son. I fight with the world around me. I fight with things that are going on. Let's say if there's music playing that I don't want to listen to, I fight with the fact of how to even be with that. If there's just a lot of things I still fight, and so me saying that I don't want to fight, there's a part of me that doesn't want to fight, but there's obviously a big part of me that still thinks I'm going to get something out of fighting and arguing and battling. So I'm wondering for you and for myself, what is it that keeps me fighting what is before me? What is it that keeps me fighting and arguing and even arguing to argue? If you saw what I was just doing, arguing how I don't want to argue. So thinking upon this, just this moment, one of the things that came up, other than a fly in my face, is that there is this, it bubbles up a little bit, is this sense of gaining identity through fighting. So I've noticed that through my life, I have gained a lot of understanding who I am and what I am by putting it opposed to other people or opposed to them. I'm not like them because I don't do that, so I must be like this. And though that seems very mild, it has created, in a sense, I use arguing and fighting and you could say prejudice, but judgment or what is it? I mean, you can use prejudice in a lighter version of the word, but it's having a preference for certain things, like that kind of music, those kind of movies, not those kind of movies, whatever. And that becomes encompassed in an identity of who I am. You know, so if you're a cowboy, there may be a cowboy hat, there may be country music, there may be cows just all around you all the time. That's how you know you're a cowboy. You may like to ride bulls, or are you just but you relate to the country music, to the feeling, to the vibe, to all that stuff, so you surround yourself around that. And so as whatever I am, hippie slash not too sure, want to jump out of the box and be out of the box everything, holistic, want to be drama free, full of drama guy. I don't want to fight with you. I don't understand. So where, I get my identity around, I like this, I like that, certain kinds of movies, certain kind of music. So, okay, lots of words. But we did get to the question, so what is it that keeps you fighting? Even though you may say, I don't want to fight, if you catch yourself fighting and arguing, then I would argue that you actually do want to fight. There's a part of you that still wants to fight because you're still doing it. It's just like a simple one to think of is if you don't smoke or you ever smoked and you stop smoking, is that you don't want to smoke. And you know that and you don't smoke. So you don't even have to argue that point anymore. You're just like, I don't smoke. But you don't want to smoke, then you don't smoke. So if you really don't want to fight, then you just don't fight anymore. You could just let things go. You don't take anything personally. you can allow things to be around you and figure out how to reset your situation or create some new agreements or boundaries. Agreements I like better. Create new agreements whenever something's not working for you in a space you live in, per se. Whatever. So, I don't know. There's so much. There's so much going on with you. You're so complex. You're such a complex being, and I think that's very beautiful. So what is it that why is it that you're still fighting? And please share it with me. I'm curious. My biggest thing, like I said, coming up right now is it has to do with holding on to a sense of identity for myself. And I'm sure there's other aspects of why I keep fighting. To adrenalize myself, too. So you get a sense of connection by fighting. So if you notice with your partner or with your child or whatever, all of a sudden you feel distance. So you're both on social medias. You're on these little hand things that you're like going like this in, and so you're on these and you're been disconnected for a while. Or if you're in a partnership, married, whatever, you feel disconnected. You're just doing routine, and then all of a sudden you have a fight and it blows up, and then and then it drops down. And for those moments, you feel connected, right? You could say, even though it's not a connection you want necessarily, but you do want connection. So that's where I would say maybe we actually don't want to fight. We just want connection. And we get confused by the two because we're having a hard time sourcing connection within ourselves, or so sense with another person. And so when we fight, it creates something other than this nothing, because we're not giving attention to ourselves or the other person. So I've talked for 6 minutes. I didn't realize I always want to make these short videos. It didn't happen. You see my tag? Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be. Just look at this boat. Mini yacht. Is that your boat? Are you on that boat right now? All right. Well, peace to you, and I hope we all figure out a way to stop fighting. Okay? Stop fighting, or stop doing things in general that just really bring us unhappiness, and in the long run a sense of disconnection, or a sense of connection that is not the kind that we really want. So one of the things I would say with all this, just to be really short here, is that there is a way. The other question, so here's 2 questions. So why is it that you still fight? Think about it. What are the reasons why you still want to argue, fight, dislike the government, the president, whatever, and be like, no! And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking why, because I was curious for myself. And see, I got so complex, and I'm complex just like you. I forgot the next question. But it was something with words that were put together in order with a question mark. Let's look at the water and see if it comes to me. In the sunset. Oh, the question was, how can you find connection in easier, softer, and gentler ways? How can you source connection within yourself and with other people in a softer and gentle way? And even with objects in space, how can you do it even if it's kind of an aggressive thing, skateboarding down a hill or whatever? How can you do it with so much awareness that it actually takes less adrenaline out of you? It takes, just less energy in a sense, less energy, and one of the ways I think about this is masters. So when you see a master of guitar, a master of directing, or a master of architecture or whatever, you watch them work, which I have watched all those different people work. They look like, when they get from point A to point B, it looks really, really easy, and like they didn't even break a sweat. And that's one of the things I looked at looking at elders and looking at masters is that they've worked that muscle so much, but they've learned how to go from point A to point B to get a book done, to get a building thing, to get a building coded, to whatever they're doing in a way that uses way less energy, and which ultimately what I'm talking about is drama. And so, as we're learning new things, we actually create a lot of drama, which are those little hiccups, those little learning curves that we have in life. And they're not necessarily bad, but why don't we get a little proactive in our lives and figure out how to source connection deeper and become masters of sourcing our own connection with ourselves and masters of our own awareness, so that when we are doing things, that learning curve's a lot quicker because our awareness is way more there and we're not tripping so hard. Yeah, you're tripping. You're thinking, I ain't tripping. Why do you always want to fight? You know what? I just go away. I don't want to fight with you. Yeah, I don't want to fight with you. I wonder if it's after a mouse or something. Hi, kitty. Meow. Meow. It's got a big house, though. This whole park.